Welcome to the Unmistakably Magic Podcast. I'm RJ.
And I'm Court.
We are two lifelong fans of Disney parks and all theme parks.
Each week we bring you the latest news from Disney parks and beyond.
Plus, this week we're going to be talking about Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, we are. The same style of show as we did with Magic Kingdom and Epcot a little earlier.
The top things to know before you go, kind of the continuation of that series.
Yeah.
As we talk about each park and kind of the details about it.
Little history lesson, little overview, little top threes. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get it started. It's episode number 8.
Let's kick it off with some news, though. James Cameron and some Imagineers are reportedly set to announce some brand new details about Pandora, the World of Avatar, at the upcoming D23 Destination D Amazing Adventures event in November at the Contemporary Resort. James Cameron will be joined by Avatar producer John Landau,
I think, yeah.
and Imagineer Joe Rohde. The event is only open to D23 fan club members.
That's good, because I don't feel like they've shared a lot of details about
They have been very quiet about this land.
It's like we got some concept art fairly early on, and then it's kind of just been not a lot since then.
There was a model at the last D23 Expo.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But there was nothing since then. I think they released a few bits of concept art, but it's been very quiet on this land.
And as a side note, I wonder how many earrings Joe Rohde has now. Every time I see him, I feel like the number gets bigger.
He's got like 5 more every time.
And his ears now starting to touch his shoulder.
It has.
Kind of freaks me out.
I wonder how far he'll let it get down to.
I don't know.
He's taking that whole "Do Your Ears Hang Low" song to a whole new level.
Soon he'll be able to time it in a knot.
The wedding pavilion over at Disney World is getting a new look. The new design will include decor that will feature an elegant neutral color palette and shimmering crystal chandeliers. New furnishings, wall coverings, and new carpeting will also be added. There is no date for when these new enhancements will debut, but Disney has announced them and has released a bit of concept art. It looks sweet.
It does. It looks like a cool place.
Very elegant.
It does.
I wouldn't mind getting married there.
Get on it, dude.
Hey,
come on.
Gotta find the one for it, though.
That's right.
Plus, gotta make a little money for that.
Marry a rich girl who can afford. Her parents can afford.
Well, that's what I'm doing with this podcast. You know, everybody
putting the feelers out there.
Well, not even that. Just like listen to this podcast so I can afford to pay for that wedding.
There we go.
Switching on over to Legoland, Florida, they will be bringing a bit of Star Wars to the park. Lego Star Wars Days will feature the Lego Star Wars Miniland model displays, which features scenes from all 6 main movies. I don't think they have anything from 7 yet. Plus, they'll have some from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. But those displays will be made out of 1.5 million Lego bricks. The park also encourages guests to dress up with prizes to those with the best costumes. There will also be some master builders to give building tips, a visit from a Lego Star Wars set designer, and a Lego Star Wars mural build and a competition build. The event will run September 10th and 11th.
Sounds fun.
I'd go.
Yeah.
More Star Wars in parks?
Yeah. I still haven't been to Legoland either. So
I haven't been there either, but
I intend at some point here with my children to go.
Yeah, that's what I would wait for.
I've heard it's very kid-centric, kid-friendly. Not a lot of things for adults to do.
No,
although it's Lego, so
you still have fun.
For it. Yeah.
I mean, even just looking at those models online.
That's what's crazy to me is how like that. Would you say 1.5 million bricks?
1.5 million bricks.
That's insane to me.
I think recently they brought in a life-sized X-Wing made out of Lego.
Oh my gosh.
Which is just incredible.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I can't imagine the people that had to work on that.
Oh,
the sheer
can you
number
believe
of them.
It? I actually saw one of my friends. He was searching for jobs, just internships, and he found one at Legoland to be a master builder. and they require a bachelor's degree in engineering to do it.
I can imagine you need one. I mean,
yeah.
You're building these giant structures out of little plastic bricks.
But you get paid, and the pay was pretty decent starting out, and you get paid
Did he
to
apply for
build Legos. No, he's an electrical engineer.
Oh.
So he's not like mechanical or like anything like that. That would actually
so close,
be useful.
but so far away.
So tiny. Yeah. They were also looking for juniors, and he was a freshman.
Oh.
So, moving over back to Disney World, Some of All Thrills and Stormstruck are both leaving Innoventions in Epcot on September 14th. TouringPlans.com reports that Disney will reveal plans for Innoventions at a later date.
It's unfortunate, but those things have both been there for
Ever.
a while.
A long time.
Some of All Thrills is a pretty good addition to Innoventions.
It's a great ride. It's just the loading system and how few people can go
actually
through
do
it
on a daily basis.
Yeah, it makes that line so ridiculously long.
Yeah, I've never done it because even though I go in pretty much the most dead season of the year every year,
Yeah,
it's still an hour
Still
at
like
least
a
line. I'm like, no,
45-minute wait.
I'm
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I'd rather go ride Test Track 10 times than.
So I'll be interested to see what they're bringing. I mean, Innovention's kind of supposed to be kind of new stuff continually, so hopefully it's something good and new.
It should be sweet. I don't see them completely wasting their simulators that they have for Some of All Thrills.
No, I can't imagine they wouldn't use those again in some.
Either in some different form or elsewhere in the park or elsewhere in some other park.
True.
We might get them at Star Wars Land.
Maybe that's part of it.
That'd be sweet. Here's hoping.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how you pilot the Millennium Falcon.
That would be kind of fun.
That'd be sweet.
A bunch of those, yeah. And
Yeah.
VR goggles.
There you
Why
go.
not?
Yeah. Moving over to Universal. Universal has announced American Horror Story as the latest maze for HHN 26. The maze will take guests through installments 1, 4, and 5 in a truly terrifying manner. The maze will be at both Universal Orlando and Universal Hollywood.
Have you watched this show?
I have not. I have friends that watch it, and they're very into it, and they say it's incredible.
That's what I've heard, too. I haven't watched it, but
I need to.
how much stuff are they going to add to Hollywood Horror Nights?
There's a ton this year. I think this should be the last house. Because
Okay.
I was watching...
I feel like every week we say something new, and then one week we're like, oh, yeah, there's these 6 things, and then it's
and
like,
then there's 3 original houses.
the parks aren't that big.
No, they...
At some point, they can't fit anymore.
It's got to cut off sometime.
I think.
But this is quite impressive. The HHN lineup this year is astounding.
It sounds
and
like it.
I hope I get to go out. I might be able to when I head out to California.
Nice.
But we'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Moving back over to Epcot, the 2016 Food and Wine Festival has been expanded yet again.
Oh, gosh. Another one of these ones.
Yeah, it's this HHN and Disney Springs every week. But the Disney Parks blog has announced that the events will expand to the resorts with events like culinary adventures with a master chef at the Contemporary, new workshops like Mix It, Make It, Celebrate It at the Festival Center, premium events like Party for the Senses and Rockin' Burger Block Party now feature new live entertainment, and there will be Remy's Ratatouille Hide and Squeak to encourage pint-sized foodies to explore World Showcase as they search for hidden statuettes of Chef Remy. I took that from the Parks blog.
I'm about to say you didn't. That doesn't sound like the way you would write that. That sounds like something the Barks blog would say.
That is all from the Parks blog. They have
Pint-sized foodies, though. I like that.
some of the stuff they come up with is really clever. I enjoy it. It
all sounds really good, though. I mean,
yeah.
I said, Food and Wine every year. It seems like they're just adding more and more, and just it's getting bigger. And
soon it's going to be at all 4 parks.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's
The
no longer-
Epcot Food and Wine Festival at all 4 parks.
At Animal Kingdom.
Huh? What?
It's sweet though. I still need to get out there for it. I need to.
Yeah, I haven't fully
it.
partaken, and I enjoyed the little bit that I did get to do on a soft open day. So
Yeah, I just want to go back into the old Wonders of Life Pavilion.
that too. Yeah.
Just walk around in there. Disney's Yesteryears apparel is now available for a limited time on Disney Store online. The collection is a throwback to attractions of yesterday and includes designs with characters like Dreamfinder and Figment, the Walt Disney World Preview Center, and extraterrestrial alien encounter. The apparel will only be available on the Disney Store online from now until August 25th, with new designs coming in September.
This is really cool.
Have you seen these designs?
Not yet. I actually intended to look it up before we talked, but I forgot.
They're
because I would love a Dreamfinder Figment shirt.
It's
I'm not
good.
gonna lie.
You should. As
All
soon
right.
as we stop,
I'll
you
check
need
it
to
out.
you need to buy one.
I'll just do it. You continue with the news. I'll be over here buying T-shirts.
I really like the extraterrestrial alien encounter one.
That would be a cool one too.
It's super retro, super. It has the feel of the attraction.
Nice.
In it.
I'll be interested. I mean, it's fun that they're gonna go. Maybe kind of go through the archives here of rides and attractions. And
it's great. I would love a Horizons shirt.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be sweet. Anything old school Epcot. I am totally.
That's
down
what I
for.
loved about being there for the 30th.
Yeah.
Granted, I wasn't there for the 30th, but they had started to roll out some of the merchandise, and some of the classic stuff was really good looking. And so anytime they bring out the vintage stuff, it's fun.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, whenever they do a throwback to anything, too, like with the old school Epcot logo.
Yeah, this one. The circles.
Yeah. I know you and I both have the same orange lanyard.
Yeah.
That has the countries and the attractions on each side. And I love that lanyard. I love the shirts that came out of there. I wish I bought a few more.
I know. I wish I'd bought more pins and stuff, too.
Yeah, but Epcot, all the Epcot stuff is just...
It's cool though they're bringing out the old stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they roll out in September too.
Yeah, I know that makes
if this was the first wave of things, and I'm excited to see how long they'll continue this collection.
I'm sure as long as it keeps selling.
I'm sure it'll keep selling for a
How
while.
Disney works.
Oh yeah. Switching coasts over to California, Knott's Berry Farm has announced an expansion for Knott's Soak City Water Park. 2 new slide towers will be added and will bring a new family raft ride and 4 drop slides and dueling tube slides. The expansion will open in 2017. It should be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is. I think it's the biggest water park in Southern California.
Is it really?
It is kind of bad if you ask me.
We're kind of spoiled here, though.
We've
talked about that previously with Wade.
Water. Yeah,
we talked about Waterworld.
We have Waterworld, which is pretty sweet.
I drove by it today, and I was like, it is pretty sweet.
I was just there 2 or 3 days ago, and my feet still hurt from walking all over that park.
I know. It's like one time you need water shoes. Like, you look like a dork, but it's so much walking.
It's the only time that I will wear Crocs. Is at that park. But Soak City it has some good attractions. It doesn't have anything like stupendous or amazing or anything that's really like worth going back for repeatedly. It does sound like these new slides on one of the two towers will be pretty thrilling and do encourage a bit of competition in a racing atmosphere.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
Good. Yeah,
it's
good
always
for Knott's.
It's always nice that
Knott's is really expanding a lot too.
They are expanding a bit, yeah, because they just did a redo of Ghost Rider, which I've heard has been a fantastic.
And they've been kind of
thing.
absorbing some of the stuff that Disneyland's gotten rid of, like Billy and the Hillbillies or whatever.
Yeah,
and
a little
they
bit.
renamed him something else now. I can't remember. It's like the same guy. I'm like, yeah,
You look familiar.
you're familiar from Disneyland.
Hey, I mean, they're up in their game, and they got a new 4D attraction too recently. Like it's under the Iron Reef or something like that. And I've heard nothing but good things about that.
Yeah,
ride.
I mean, I think Knott's is really stepping their game up,
which is good.
Yeah,
Pushing everybody to amp it up.
competition's good in the industry.
It's sweet. Disney has filed a patent for next-gen Star Wars lightsabers that can deflect lasers. This is really cool. The patent is very complicated, and I mean, I'm a physics major right now with mechanical engineering coming up pretty soon, and I barely understood it. But the patent does describe how a drone firing a laser at a user, and the user can deflect it in such a manner that it makes the user feel like they're deflecting it, using many sensors, many LEDs, many invisible lasers that are not harmful to anybody in any way, shape, or form. But it is a really interesting patent that they filed. It doesn't use any actual lasers, but it gives the feeling that you're deflecting lasers with a lightsaber.
That's kind of cool.
And although the patent was filed, and it was actually filed before Disney announced Star Wars Land, I think it was a few months before Disney announced Star Wars Land. But this doesn't necessarily mean that it will be in the parks.
But we might see a retail version of this or something, though.
It looks a little too complicated for retail.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't look very...
So maybe the next generation
friendly.
of Jedi Training Academy?
That's what I'm thinking. It in their little image that they have to show in their patent, it looked like it was in a little sphere, the drone. So it was kind of like the Luke's training,
Thing,
yeah, the training ball. It's either going to be in New Jedi Training Academy or some kind of show. But it is very heavily on user interaction, so I'm sure it'll be used in Jedi Training Academy.
I'm sure it will be, yeah.
Which sucks because I'm not 7 and can't
do
it.
So you get to watch. You get to watch that happen.
Sadly, I could pass the 7. I'll just shave.
A 6'4" tall 7-year-old. Yeah.
It's the hormones, man.
Yeah.
It's all
it's on the milk.
It's all the cows.
It's all the milk.
Drink milk, eat your greens. A new design might be in the works for magic bands at Disney World. The new design would give guests a plastic puck that contains all the RFID goodness in it, and guests could then pop the puck in and out and swap bands at will. This is based off of the Fitbit designs. You seen those where you got the little chip and you can slip it in and out?
Slip it in and out. There's the little slit for the screen, basically.
Yeah, it's the same concept as that. The new designs seem to be brought on because of the increasing amount of magic bands that each guest is connecting and collects and has.
I can imagine, yeah.
It's all...
Because they sell them. They sell decorative and unique ones and all that. So
and everybody's connecting them to their annual passes or even just
why
when
not
they're
give
there
everybody a single puck that represents them, and then they can change out at will or whatever they want to do.
Yeah, and they can swap it out for whatever design they want. But the system seems to be overloading a bit and experiencing a lot of slowdown and a lot of lag in their system with it.
Yeah, if somebody's owning six or more magic bands, I can
and
see
I'm sure many people.
I'm sure some of these collectors and stuff,
they use a ton.
They have ones for each outfit, or so
one for every day on your 12-day visit.
Yeah.
There's currently no word on when or if it'll roll out, but it is in testing right now. And this does also show that Disney still has a lot of faith in their My Magic Plus experience.
Yeah. And they're improving it, which is good.
Yeah, which is always useful.
Looking for areas where it needs improvement.
Yeah, which is always great.
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom at Disney World will be reducing its evening hours in September. Beginning September 6th, the park will close at 9 p.m. as opposed to the current 11 p.m. And in October through Christmas, the park will close at 7 p.m. With the week between Christmas and New Year's, the park will stay open till a whopping 8 p.m. All of the nighttime entertainment will still be available during the early closing times, so that includes Kilimanjaro safaris, the lighting of the Tree of Life, but there is still no word on the massively delayed Rivers of Light.
Oh my gosh.
I was so excited for that this summer.
I know.
I wanted to see it.
I know, but they just cannot get it done.
There's something going on.
What is wrong with it, but something.
Hopefully they don't scrap it.
I can't imagine they would. I mean, they did the Jungle Book.
And that's still going on, and that's going to end sometime in September. I think it was the 15th. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But sometime in September, that's ending. So they're not going to have any nighttime anything.
Other than the tree.
Other than the Tree of Life lighting and show.
But
they've
got to figure that out.
It's
because they've previewed it so much, talked so much game about it, and then now it's still not happening.
It's just there.
Come on.
It's... It better roll out because it seems to be a combination of World of Color and Fantasmic,
Yeah.
which would be a world of Fantasmic.
Yeah, based on the... I know what I'm putting on Instagram this week.
I was so excited for it though, and
I know,
I'm
I was
still
too.
excited for it. I still want it.
I'm sure it's coming at some point, but
it's Disney. They want to get it right, and I don't blame them for that. I don't blame them for delaying it as long as it still rolls out and it's still awesome.
yeah.
I'm completely okay with that. A celebration of Harry Potter will return to Universal Orlando in January 2017. The event will bring Q&A with the stars, demonstrations, exhibits, and much more. Exclusive vacation deals are available for booking through Universal Orlando, and the event will run January 27th through 29th and is included with your park ticket or annual pass.
That's kind of fun. That's not a hard ticket event.
Yeah, it's kind of like Star Wars days or Star Wars weekends over at
in May when they do those in Hollywood Studios.
when they used to do them. I don't know if they still do them anymore with Star Wars Land coming over.
Yeah, I wonder.
But it's also like Lego Star Wars Days. That's included in your ticket as well.
That's nice.
It's kind of annoying when they make these fun little additions extra price.
Well, and it seems like in the years past when they've done this, they actually bring in some pretty big stars from the movies. And,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a very good event. I'm hopeful like Disney does this with Star Wars at some
that'd
point.
be sweet.
We maybe see like a Mark Hamill in the park, and
Oh man, could you imagine?
that'd be awesome. I'd go.
Maybe for the park for the opening of Star Wars Land.
Oh, I bet we'll see a lot
That'd be
for
sweet.
that. Yeah.
Because I was over at Universal when they were opening up Diagon Alley, and there was the guy that played Neville was there. They had a red carpet out.
Yeah.
He was just hanging out with guests right there, and actually got to meet him. And then I know there were a few other pretty big actors there. There weren't the big three that were there,
Yeah.
but there were still a lot of familiar faces and still very friendly, very cool to
That's
interact
awesome.
with.
Yeah.
Last bit of news, Guy Fieri is designing the menu for the new Planet Hollywood Observatory in Disney Springs, with several flavor-packed burgers and sandwiches. The entire menu will be released soon, and Planet Hollywood opens this fall with a newly expanded outdoor terrace and bar.
Nice.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah.
Have you seen the concept art for this?
No.
It looks very turn of the century, kind of the whole Disney Springs feel planetarium.
Yeah. Okay.
It looks sweet.
Like almost steampunk-ish.
Not really steampunk-ish, but it's got like the brick
The old-timey
layering on the
okay.
bottom. It's got kind of an old-timey feel to it.
Instead of the like obnoxiously 90s neon orb of blueness that it was previously.
It is still an orb of blueness. It's just slightly less obnoxious.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Which it should be interesting. It is in a prime location at Disney Springs.
It
It's
is
like
right in the middle.
It is in the center of Disney
Yeah.
Springs. So I'm really glad that they're expanding their outdoor seating, and even putting a bar up there, because it'll very much
Be a
so.
very cool view then of
Yeah, it'd
Disney
be
Springs,
sweet, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
They're really pushing the whole nighttime experience over there,
They really are, which
is
I'm
awesome.
looking forward to it the next time I go and have like a date night
Oh yeah,
at Disney Springs now.
that'd be sweet. All right, well that just about does it for news.
All right, stick around. We'll be talking about Hollywood Studios. All right, we're back. We're going to talk about Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Over at Disney World.
Over at Disney World, we're continuing our top things to know before you go series, where we kind of break down Disney World as a whole. We've previously talked about the Magic Kingdom, talked
And
about
Epcot.
Epcot. Now we're on to the third park.
We're going in order of opening. Yeah. So
And awesomeness, pretty much.
it's debatable for these
Okay.
last two,
We
and
can
debatable
debate
for
that
Magic Kingdom and Epcot even. But Hollywood Studios,
Hollywood Studios opened May of 1989.
May 1 of 1980.
That's right.
89.
As Disney's MGM Studios, because
Yep.
they had signed a partnership with MGM.
Yep, they did.
And then in 2008, it changed to Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yep.
Because they stopped the deal with MGM, I guess.
And then wasn't there some talk with Michael Eisner? Didn't he say there might be a bit of a name change a little later on?
Yeah, there was it a D20? No, it was a shareholder meeting.
a shareholder.
A young
It was like
boy got up and asked a question, and he leaked that there was a name change coming.
Have we seen that yet?
We have not seen that yet.
Did it change from Disney's Hollywood Studios over to Disney Hollywood Studios?
I don't know.
Like,
I think it still has apostrophe as far as I know, right?
Like California Adventure.
Yeah.
It does still have an apostrophe,
Okay.
but I mean, would people really be that upset if it changed to Disney Hollywood
Or is it just
Studios?
maybe it's just Disney Studios, like they call it over in? Is it Japan that has
it's Paris.
Paris that has
France where they got it. Yeah. No, it's still Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. So maybe at some point we'll see it just as.
I was just checking to make sure you're paying attention.
Well, that was a weird thing though, that he kind of accidentally like, oh yeah, there's a name change coming. And everybody's like, what?
Like, what? He's like, ah, crap.
I'm like, I wasn't supposed to say that, was I?
Shouldn't have said that. Oh well. Well, there's a name change.
Yeah, there's an name change coming.
So
I'm not saying what, but
expected to change names again. Maybe it could go back to MGM.
maybe
That'd be nice.
or maybe some other studio.
Yeah.
Lucasfilm,
Lucasfilm
Disney,
Park.
Lucasfilm, Jim Henson Studios,
Tower of Terror.
Tower of Terror.
Rock and Roller Coaster.
Just put all the attractions in the name.
There you go.
So it's designed after parts of the park are designed after the golden era of Hollywood, kind of 1930s, 1940s.
Yeah, that's like the whole main entrance of the park, right?
Yeah, which is Hollywood Boulevard.
Yep.
Is that area.
Okay.
And it's kind of the main street of Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are iconic buildings that existed in Hollywood again in like the 30s, 40s. The Brown Derby, which is a restaurant.
There's the Carthay Circle over there.
There's
not quite as elegant as California
it's
Adventures.
like a shopping. It's a
shop.
Yeah,
It's
not
a
a
gift store.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what else is over there?
The one I always think of is because I'm a photography nerd is the camera store that looks like a camera.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought was cool.
That is pretty sweet.
It's on the right as you kind of walk in. I think the right.
Is it just before Sunset Boulevard? Because you
no,
go down.
It's like one of the first stores you see.
Okay, yeah.
And it's funny because it's the same with Epcot. There's a shop where it's left over from the film era because it's like sponsored by Kodak, and you can tell they don't have anything in that store anymore because nobody needs
any of that.
Yeah, because back then people would need rolls of film and batteries and etc. But now it's like
you could sell like SD cards or something.
Yeah, I think maybe they do, but
that'd be nice.
There's not nearly as much as I think there was back when everybody used film.
Yeah, yeah. So you said part of the park was themed to that. What's the other part themed to you?
Well, so there's a couple lands. Kind of, we talk about lands a lot when we're talking about Disney parks.
Yeah.
So there's Hollywood Boulevard. There's also Echo Lake, which is the way I've seen it described is California crazy. So it's kind of the like.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a giant dinosaur in the lake, and
serves ice cream.
That has an ice cream store in the middle of it,
and there's like a boat on there, right? That you can buy like.
Yeah.
There's some food that you can get out of there too.
Yeah, so it's kind of literally like. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, it's just crazy.
The weird things that California had, because like you always see whenever there's a movie.
Yeah, it's kind of those iconic random buildings. Yeah,
that California is the setting in. At least Southern California, you always see what's his name, like Randy's Donuts or whatever.
Yeah,
and
Pink's hot dogs and
the giant things that would draw people in. They kind of theme it after that.
Yeah,
so that's Echo Lake.
That's Echo Lake. Then there's Muppets Courtyard, which is so going back to our intro of this park here. This park is in a sort of weird turmoil.
It is in a transition state
because large portions of this park, as we looked at Disney's official map before we started talking here.
Yeah.
This park makes no sense at this current time because there are giant chunks missing, big, huge portions closed off. It is kind of in a mess. So
it is mayhem walking around this park. Even without the construction, it was mayhem walking around this park.
It's not the greatest layout of a park.
Not really.
It's kind of dead end streets and kind of back alleys, and
it doesn't really take you in a circular manner.
No.
It's just kind of like a straight street, and then there's
Sunset
Boulevard.
Yeah.
Reaches off to the
right. And
right.
there's two big rides down there, but they're way at the end of the street, and
there's nothing else over there.
Yeah.
And then
there's
off
some
to
snacks,
the left.
Yeah.
Off to the left, there's some big rides and nothing else over there.
Yeah.
So
this park is really interesting. So it's kind of interesting talking about it now because, like I said, it's in state of kind of turmoil or chaos at this point because
it really is.
Huge portions of this park are under construction.
It really is, yeah.
So again, we were kind of moving our way through the park here. Muppets Courtyard is there, and there's Muppets 3D.
Muppet Vision 3D.
Muppet Vision 3D, an attraction. But they're also now currently, as we reported a couple weeks ago, making
Pizza Rizzo.
There was Pizza Planet there, but as we'll talk in a minute here, they're moving Pizza Rizzo's in there because it wouldn't make a lot of sense with the
Muppet Courtyard right there.
Because currently there's Pixar Place.
Yep.
Which is where Toy Story Midway Mania is. And we're kind of going in random order, and it's going to feel that way, as we've talked in circular motion when we talked Magic Kingdom and same with Epcot. But this park just is that way.
It is not circular. It's not.
No.
And there's
it's not linear. It's not linear.
There's no real pattern
There's no real pattern to it. So if it feels like we're bouncing around, that's why.
It's because the park bounces around.
So Pixar Place at this current time is kind of modeled after Pixar's studio in California.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty cool.
It is.
Have you ever been to Pixar Studio up in California?
No, have you?
I've driven by it.
Oh, okay.
I've never been through it. I've never been into it. But from the outside looking in, it looks
pretty good.
Pretty much the same as what they did over here, which I would expect because Disney has all the reference that they could ever want from it.
So that area is expanding too.
Yeah.
As they're doing a giant expansion into a whole Toy Story land.
Yep. Yeah.
Including a Slinky Dog roller coaster and
some little green men spinning ride. I don't think they have a name for that one yet.
Is there a parachute type ride too, I think?
I think there is the parachute drop tower, yeah. Getting a lot of things from other Toy Story lands over there.
Yeah.
And then back over by Muppet Studio or Muppet Courtyard, isn't that where Star Wars Land's going?
That's what we were looking at the map going like, where? Because Muppet Courtyard at this current time kind of sits in between
Star Tours
and the area that's now been closed off
for Star Wars Land.
For Star Wars Land. So we're thinking, how's that going to work?
So we're thinking they might either move Star Tours or just kind of make the entrance to Muppet Courtyard a little different.
Yeah, I don't know how
the only thing
work
I could see it.
Yeah.
But
again, this park is really interesting right now.
Right now, it is probably the most interesting park.
It's a lot going on.
There's a ton. And I mean, we already talked about Star Wars Land in episode 6, I believe.
Yeah, so if you haven't listened to episode 6, we sit and talk for over an hour.
Pretty close to an hour and a half.
An hour and a half about Star Wars Land, which is a 14-acre expansion, giant.
Just massive.
Yeah, and we talk about our expectations. We talk about what we know. So I would definitely encourage anyone to listen to that. It was an interesting topic to talk about. And we had a special guest from the Unmistakably Star Wars podcast join us.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to talk about. It's always fun to speculate on just based off of concept art.
Because we really don't have a ton.
We have nothing.
I mean, we have 14 acres. We know that number.
We have 14 acres. We have like 7 images of concept art. Other than that, nothing.
Yeah.
Few descriptions on what 2 attractions are going to be, but we speculated quite a bit. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun. It was fun to talk about it.
I had a blast talking about it.
So kind of near Pixar Place is also the Animation Courtyard.
Yeah.
Which has a few attractions in it.
That's where they do. What do they do in those
Disney Junior Live?
Disney Junior Live. That's where you can you also learn to draw Disney characters in that one? Was that
yes,
right?
And is that where Walt's One Man's Dream?
One Man's Dream is over there as well. Yeah, and
Little Mermaid, the
musical,
which is currently undergoing some refurbishment. I think
it is. There is not a whole lot open.
Those 1980s laser lights are pretty outdated.
They still look fun.
That's the hardest thing about talking about Hollywood Studios in August of 2016 is
there's not a whole lot.
There's not a whole lot open. There's a lot going under refurbishment, like we talked about with Muppet Courtyard.
You got one attraction.
You have one attraction, and you have a restaurant possibly coming at some point. So I'm assuming at this point, Pizza Planet's closed.
It is closed right now. They're putting in Pizza Rizzo right now. I can't remember if they announced an opening date. If they did, it's sometime in 2017.
I saw new concept art, so I wonder if they've maybe said something. But
they did just release a new concept art,
which it looked kind of fun.
It looked
like a
really
New York
fun.
Pizza place.
Yeah, and they gave the whole backstory behind it of it's like the best pizza in New York and best pizza in town, I guess is what they said. And it's very New York thrill,
yeah.
New York themed.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm excited to go eat there.
One area that's not really under turmoil right now is Sunset Boulevard.
That's true. That has been set for quite some time now.
Unless, of course, Guardians or something.
That's not over here.
No, that's right. We can't do that.
Can't scare people like that.
Can't scare people. Just kidding, people.
They haven't announced anything.
They haven't. In fact, at some point, they even said
we're doing nothing.
California is the only one.
The Hollywood Studios in Florida, Tower Terror.
So coming off Hollywood Boulevard, as you're walking towards the Chinese Theater, which is the great movie ride attraction, if you take a right at the Brown Derby, you're going to go down Sunset Boulevard.
Yep.
And at the end of there, you can see the Tower of Terror looming off in the distance, which I actually kind of like how they did that. As far away as it is, but
I love that. It is so, it's ominous. It's
spooky.
You
hear the screams because those doors open up and you just hear in the distance.
They did that on purpose because they wanted to push the screams inside the park. And over in California, they had some noise ordinances to pay attention to.
Yeah.
So they're like, we need to push screams inside, so we're going to do that. But yeah, it's up on a hill even too, and it is tall.
There's a lot of it looks overgrown in that area too. The plant life always looks overgrown.
That theming is hands down best theming probably in this park.
Which I think is why when looking down at our top threes here, we're going to talk about it some more.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that and there's not a whole lot open anywhere.
Yeah. So I will apologize because I'm sure we're going to have a fairly short episode this week because Hollywood Studio, like I said, I've said it again, I'll say it again. It's just in a state of chaos right now.
It is. And it's also the smallest park at Disney World.
To start with,
yeah. It is tiny compared to all the other three parks.
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom is... In comparison to Disneyland, Magic Kingdom is twice the size of Disneyland. Epcot is twice the size of Magic Kingdom. Animal Kingdom has one attraction that is the size of Magic Kingdom. I believe Animal Kingdom is twice the size of Epcot.
Yeah.
Hollywood Studios is half the size of Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
If I got all my dimensions right.
I think so.
So it's about the size of Disneyland.
And so right now with half of it closed, it's a quarter of the size of the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, it is. It is small, but that smallness makes it kind of more intriguing because there's so much detail packed within this park.
There really is. Like talking about Hollywood Boulevard, going back kind of the entrance.
It's crazy.
Those buildings are very detailed. You go into the shops. There's cool details within the shops on the up top of the shelves. I loved it. I love exploring this park.
Yeah, it is. It's my probably least favorite park at Disney World.
But just because awesome.
Just because it's still awesome. That's not to say it's not a good theme park. It's just my least favorite because the other ones are just so good.
And it's true, they are hard to beat.
They're very hard to beat. And this one it kind of feels tacky. To me at least.
It does.
I'm not a big fan of the whole backlot of Hollywood, kind of the whole this is how movies are made. I do love their shows. Their shows at Hollywood Studios are fantastic.
It's true. I do love the Stunt Spectacular, the
Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. Yeah. That is probably my favorite. Of course,
every time I go, it's somehow always on the rain delay version, which doesn't includes a quarter of the stunts that actually happen in the show. But
you got to go between Christmas and New Year's. Everything's open. Everything's running at full capacity.
Sure it is.
No, that's probably my favorite show at Disney World. Well, live action person show.
Yeah,
I should say.
Yeah. Not Disney Junior Live.
No.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
I'm not 3.
You said you were 7 earlier when you were trying to get on the Jedi.
I'm a big 7-year-old.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a 3-year-old.
So you're not going to go to Disney Junior Live.
Not today. Maybe with my niece. Maybe we'll get out there.
So I think because this park is in such disarray at this point, I'm trying to find different words to use besides turmoil.
You've had quite a few. Your vocabulary is quite expansive with this.
I know.
It's like you thought about it beforehand.
I did a little bit because I was like, what do we say about this park because it is in such disarray.
Yeah.
Let's talk about maybe some of our expectations of this park coming into the future.
Well, do you want to talk about the rides in each land first?
All right, let's do that.
I kind of want to do that.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, so you come down Hollywood Boulevard, and you mentioned it. There's the Chinese Theater right there. It's a replica of the Chinese Theater.
It used to be the hat was in the way, but the hat's gone.
Which is a blessing. It is so much nicer looking with the hat on. Plus, the biggest
like
hidden
you said,
Mickey,
tacky.
Yeah,
That's kind of true.
It was pretty tacky.
Yeah.
And that's not just a pun on the pins that they sold under there. But it was. It does bring back one of the biggest hidden Mickeys on property, which is actually made out of the cement. And if you look at a map of Hollywood Studios from an aerial view, it shows you that hidden Mickey.
I never realized that until after the hat went away, and I was like, whoa.
There's a Mickey right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the biggest hidden Mickey when they built the park that Disney has ever done.
Wow.
And it's pretty cool.
That's fun.
So there's the Great Movie Ride in there. And the Great Movie Ride is a mixture between animatronic, live action ride.
Yeah. You're basically in these little cars that kind of go through, and you go through scenes of famous movies. So you go through Wizard of Oz, you go through Aliens, you go through a Western.
Indiana Jones. You go through
Jones,
some Clint Eastwood Western, yeah.
You go through some kind of mobster type movie.
Yeah, there's quite a lot in this attraction. It is fairly lengthy.
It is.
It does have some of the best audio animatronics in the entirety of Walt Disney World. That witch in the Wizard of Oz section is mind-blowing. It is incredible. And that alien section, it's a little scary.
It is.
It's a little terrifying.
I know.
I've always wanted, I saw those movies when I was probably about 10 or 11, kind of a little young.
Aliens?
Yeah.
Oy.
Yeah, my dad was, he was great. But, so I had a fascination with them. And when we got to ride the Great Movie Ride a couple years later, I was thrilled when we went in there. I didn't do a whole lot of research, and I went on it, and I was like, wow. That ride's incredible.
That alien popping out.
Yeah. That ride's incredible, though, too.
Is.
It does have one of the best hidden images in it as well. In the Indiana Jones section, I believe you're supposed to look right when Indiana Jones, like the arc opens up or whatever.
Yeah.
If you look off to the left, you can spot a hieroglyphic of R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty cool.
That's fun.
So the Great Movie Ride is, like you said, it's a
ride through movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's Star Trek in Disney parks at the end of that ride, which is incredible.
I know. Yeah. That's it. That is ironic.
Which is kind of funny because they're bringing in Star Wars
giant
land.
Star Wars land.
Yeah, it's going to be Star Wars Land and Star Trek in the same park. So the Great Movie Ride is it's a ride through the movies. It goes through old classics into some of the newer stuff. It hasn't been updated. Well, it was updated kind of recently.
Yeah, a couple years ago.
Yeah. But I don't think they did anything major. I think they just updated the movie at the end.
Yeah.
Which means they might have removed Star Trek, which would be unfortunate because I haven't ridden it since they updated it.
Oh, maybe they have. I don't know.
Oh, man, I hope not. But it is a mixture of live action, so there are people that actually interact. Like there are
your cast
gangsters.
member that's driving your car or is your tour guide.
Yeah,
occasionally has to interact with scenes that you're going through.
Yeah, and at one point your vehicle is held up by gangsters.
Is it gangsters or robbers?
I think it's gangsters. I think it's a mobster.
It's not like cowboys.
It might be cowboys as well. It happens multiple times.
Yeah, it does. You're like, what's happening? Your
driver changes, and it is a lot of fun. It's a ton of things to look at, a ton of things to experience. It's very, it's not a fast-moving ride, but it's a very high-energy ride.
If you love movies, it's fun to like, oh, I know this movie, and especially like you said, the movie at the end. You're like, oh, I know that movie because it's just clips of
yeah, and you're gonna want to ride this time and time again if you're a fan of movies.
It's a fun movie ride.
That's the only ride on Hollywood Boulevard, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of rare to have an attraction as in your main street.
Yeah, kind of
I would say.
Well,
I guess there's great moments.
A big attraction.
Yeah, a big one that like
is an actual building versus like a small theater type attraction.
Yeah, a one that you kind of have to ride every time that you go.
Yeah,
I would say. So that's Hollywood Boulevard. Are you going to go off to the left or off to the right?
Well, so we already talked about to the right. We talked about, let's go to the right again.
Okay, we're going off to the right. So we're going down Sunset Boulevard, and we see...
And again, we see the Tower of Terror.
Tower of Terror looming at the end.
And if you don't know, Tower of Terror is this...
It's a drop ride.
Drop ride, yeah.
It is a very intricately themed drop ride.
It's awesome.
And it's one of the best rides at Disney World. Probably in the world, I would say.
Wow.
It is a lot of fun.
It is. It is awesome.
This Disney World version is different than the one over in Disneyland. I think the Disney World version is
longer, isn't it?
It's much longer. You actually move around in the Twilight Zone.
The extra thing moves out of the shaft.
Yep.
The elevator shaft and goes into the hotel. And
yeah, it is so much better than the one in California.
Yeah.
But before you get over to Tower of Terror, there's a show off to your right.
Beauty and the Beast.
It's the Beauty and the Beast live. Is it live?
I don't know.
Or just musical? Or
I've never been to it.
It's good.
Is it?
Yeah, we watch it every time we go.
Oh.
It's very entertaining. It's just a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but it's done kind of Broadway style.
Okay.
It's pretty similar to like the Aladdin show used to be
in California Adventure.
It's the same kind of style. There's no like comical relief character in it though.
Oh.
But it's still very high production, very high energy,
That's cool.
Very entertaining show.
I'll have to check that out then. I haven't.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I would suggest that you watch it.
I always whenever we are in the parks, I always seem to miss show times. I'm like, oh, it started 10 minutes ago.
It was 15 minutes ago.
And the next one's in 2 hours. We have a lunch reservation. Yeah, we're not going. So
just pick up a times guide before you hop in, and there you go.
So again, that was to the right as you're kind of going down. Tower of Terror still at the end, and then if you look to the left,
it's basically kissing the entrance to Tower of Terror, right?
Yeah.
You know,
which is kind of weird. Yeah, in a way.
It's a very big kind of bottleneck right there.
It is.
It's Rock and Roller Coaster.
Rock and Roller Coaster,
which is a launched roller coaster in the dark
with inversions
and Aerosmith blasting the whole time
in your ears.
It's
because the speakers are like
right there.
They're like headphones almost.
Every seat has a subwoofer underneath
and you feel it,
and it's fantastic. It is themed to like driving fast on the California freeway. So if you're from California visiting Orlando, you might get to live one of your childhood dreams
to actually go
fast on the California freeways.
Yeah, you're blown by freeway signs. You're blown by the Hollywood sign. You hear the radio talking to you and talking about traffic jams. And
it is so much fun. I try to ride this ride 2 or 3 times every time I go.
Yep.
It is.
And they have single rider for it too, don't they?
I believe so. They do now. Yeah.
I think that's how I always do it.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, yeah. But other than that, those three attractions, there is Fantasmic at night over there.
Yeah.
Which I think it's kind of it didn't show a whole lot of forethought or foresight. The way that Fantasmic exits right by the entrance of Tower of Terror, because we had some fast passes reserved for that time, right when Fantasmic was getting out, and we were trying to redeem them, and we had to wait probably 20 minutes until we could get into Tower of Terror.
Because you're waiting for all the traffic to clear out.
Waiting for all the people to just clear out.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd place to put a theater.
A little bit.
It's kind of towards the entrance, and it's not really marked really well. You know, it's just kind of like suddenly this gate opens up, and they're like, "Oh, there's something down there. Let's go." You know.
Yeah. But Fantasmic is always a great show to watch.
It is. Yeah.
It is a little better at Disneyland, but this one's still good.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
So then that's it for Sunset Boulevard.
Yep.
What's next?
Well, so if you walk back out to from Sunset Boulevard to Hollywood Boulevard,
I guess we got to use the Great Movie Ride as the meeting point.
Yeah. So go back to the Great Movie Ride, then look left. If you're staring at the Great Movie Ride, look left, and you're going to look at Echo Lake. And again, you're going to see that dinosaur in the lake and the weird-looking boat that's out there.
Yep. You're going to see all of that stuff.
And over there is Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, which we kind of talked about.
Yeah,
it's a stunt show
with an Indiana Jones theme.
It's supposed to feel like you're on set of them filming an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, I believe
because there's a director and there's a camera guy, or there's.
Isn't it for The Last Crusade?
Yeah,
something like that. Well, it uses elements from all
the
movies, except for the original 3 movies.
But it's basically like if they're filming stunts and like again being on set for a action movie,
which is really cool. They have the boulder rolling. They have
The airplane
fight. They have comedy throughout it. It's a really good
audience
show.
Participation. They usually pull somebody down from the audience to do something.
My uncle actually got pulled down one time,
really?
And he just got back from a trip to Egypt, and so the setting where they pulled him down is actually in Egypt, and so he started speaking. I don't know I think he was speaking Hebrew.
Oh.
To the other audience members, and he's a huge Indiana Jones nerd, huge Star Wars nerd, and so he thought he was like being funny, and everybody else around him was like, "What the heck are you doing, man? What are you saying?"
He's nerding out, and everybody's like, "Cool, dude."
It was like, "Sweet," as they step like 4 steps away.
So also over there is Star Tours.
Yeah, the adventures continue,
and again, this is kind of. I'll be interested to see if this stays there or what happens there, because
or if it changes or what's going on.
Because
over there.
Somewhere over there is going to be Star Wars Land, the whole 14-acre. Again, episode 6. Listen to it if you haven't.
Yep.
And then out in front of Star Tours is Jedi Training Academy.
Yes,
which has the full name, but
isn't it Jedi Training Academy Trials of the Temple?
Yes, that's it, the full name.
Trials of the Jedi Temple,
something like that.
Something. It's really cool. It's very. Have you seen the new updated one?
Yeah.
It's sweet. They did a much better job on this update than...
So kids are able to volunteer to be a part of this experience.
You do have to sign up earlier in the morning. So if you want your young Padawan to train in this manner, definitely go there earlier in the morning and then hang out around there. I'm sure there's signs that'll direct you to where you need to go.
Yeah. But it's fun to watch even as...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you get some really cool pictures of, like, Darth Vader or Darth Maul.
Yeah, they bring out characters to fight the Padawans, and
yeah,
it's really
sweet.
Cool.
It's sweet. It's got a pretty good story to it as well. It's very entertaining if you're walking by there waiting for your Fast Pass for Star Tours. Definitely check it out.
So then right next to Star Tours is the entrance to the Muppets Courtyard, which we kind of talked about
earlier.
We'll be interested to kind of see how that works with Star Tours being right there and Star Wars Land being...
Right there,
right
also, on the other side of
it. So
I don't know. It does look like there's a bit of a path that you can cut between Star Tours and Muppet Courtyard.
Well, and even Star Tours kind of exits to that gift shop that's on the right there that backs up against. So they could just take that out and make that a whole entrance into.
Which I wouldn't be opposed to that. I do love the whole Mos Eisley Cantina feel that you get in there.
But obviously, if we're getting a whole land of that,
I'm fine.
Who cares?
Whatever.
Yeah, I'll give up a gift shop for that.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of gift shops.
So in the Muppets Courtyard, you're going to find a fountain that has...
It's got Miss Piggy in
it. And
Kermit, he's shooting on the camera, right?
Yeah.
And then there's several Muppets in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's very themed to
Muppets.
Yeah. A Muppet studio.
There's a big Kermit the Frog balloon up there, too. Yeah. It is... I mean, the whole area is... just like brickwork everywhere.
Yeah.
It does feel kind of...
old-timey Hollywood studio backlot kind of...
Yeah, old-school Hollywood backlot stuff, which in this queue are some of the greatest gags and greatest little hidden things. Like the key under the mat.
Yeah.
That one's my favorite. It is the best.
The first time I picked it up, my wife was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "There's a key under here." And she was like, "What?" And then I showed her, and she's like, "Oh." Because you had shown me, and I was like,
I showed you at a California Adventure tonight, and I was like, check this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the signs in there are pretty true. So if they say that there's something like, I'm out right now, keys under the mat, check under the mat. Keys right there.
The key, yeah.
Yeah, it's so much fun. So many Muppet gags in there. I'm thrilled because there were rumors that this was going away in favor of Star Wars Land.
Oh.
I'm thrilled that it's not going away yet. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? But they're bringing Pizza Rizzo over there, so I'm sure it'll stick around for a bit. But I love the Muppets.
I do too.
There's some great underused characters.
I just bought Muppets from Space.
Oh, did you?
On Amazon.
It's been forever since I've seen that.
Build a jacuzzi and we will come. I love Pepe.
Some of the best characters just come from there. It's so much fun. So that's the Muppet Vision, and the attraction in there is Muppet Vision 3D.
So it's it's actually, I mean, it's
kind of 4D.
Kind of 4D because
there's bubbles and you are wearing 3D glasses, and it's testing the new Muppet Vision 3D style of filming in a Muppet manner.
Yeah. So shenanigans.
Yeah, shenanigans ensue. I mean, the entire, not to spoil it too bad, but the entire theater kind of blows up at the end.
That's a good attraction though. I like
it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It might alter some of the top threes coming up because I completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So then if we go back to the Great Movie Ride, we'll use that as kind of our key point here because again, there's no path between all these things
between Muppet Vision and what's next anymore.
Yeah.
There used to be, but
that's true.
Not anymore.
So over there is the Pixar place.
So this is like right behind the Great Movie Ride.
Yeah, you kind of go to the right and behind the Great Movie Ride is Pixar place.
If you go directly to the right, there's some archway. I can't remember the name that they call it. It's like Hollywood Backlot, isn't it, or something like that, or it's just over. It's in between Pixar Place and Sunset Boulevard.
Well, that's the animation courtyard.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So then that's over there. Do you want to talk about that first?
Sure.
Because right now that just has Star Wars Launch Bay in it.
The animation courtyard?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe it's all Star Wars over there.
Is it?
I think so.
Well,
there's still Disney Junior.
And the drawing and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they made the majority of it into Star Wars Launch Bay.
Oh, okay.
Where you can meet Kylo Ren, Chewbacca,
That's
and there's a few bounty hunters walking around every now and then. Oh. You see movie props from Episode 7. It's really a hype area for Episode 7.
Well, and they've used it in the past to hype other things too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they've put new movie posters over there and
even brought other. At one point there was a Captain Jack's experience or something where you go in and there was like projections of Johnny Depp. So it was like
we're
half-crashed pirate ship.
We're talking about two different things.
Are we?
Yeah, because you're talking about on the other side of Pixar Place.
Oh.
I'm talking about there's a spot in between. It's like on the right side of One Man's
And there's
Dream.
the archway, and it says Disney's Hollywood Studios above it.
Yeah. What's the area back there? I don't think there's some area, but that's where we're talking about, where it's Star Wars Launch Bay.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that you'll see that before you kind of take a left into Pixar Place. Yeah.
Okay.
So sorry for the confusion, but
look up a map. I don't know.
Figure it out. This park's so confusing.
It is so confusing, especially right now, because there were ways to get, like you said, to go from one land to another without. But now you're literally going to have to kind of come back
to the Great Movie Ride every time you want to get over to pretty much any land.
Any other land, yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
It is kind of ridiculous.
I'm sure they're more forgiving on fast passes nowadays.
They have to be.
It's
to have to walk
insane.
the entire length of the park, yeah.
Yeah. So then, right off to your right, if you're facing the Great Movie Ride, is Star Wars Launch Bay back there.
And then kind of back behind that and behind the movie ride.
To the left, if you stick closer to the movie ride, if you don't go underneath that archway, there's Disney Junior, right? On your left. And then there's, I guess it's an empty... Is it empty, or did they put the third track of
I think they used
Midway
that for
Mania?
the third track.
Okay. So then there's the big attraction over there, which is Toy Story Midway Mania that always had. Not anymore.
Yeah. Because they always had a third track, which helps a lot.
Oh, yeah. But they always had minimum of a 90-minute wait.
So this is a 3D. You're wearing 3D glasses. You're in...
They call it a 4D attraction, though.
Well, I guess, yeah, because you're interacting with it.
You're actually interacting with it.
It's supposed to feel like midway boardwalk kind of games.
Yeah, so it's a virtual ride in a way. It's Toy Story themed. Andy got a new Midway game play set, and Andy's away, so the toys will play,
doing their thing.
So you do wear 3D glasses, so that kind of makes you a little nauseous. Just be aware of that. The car that you're in does spin a bit. It's not
little jerky, but not too bad.
A little bit. Over in California, it's really jerky.
It kind of whips you around.
It's gotten bad over there. They need to fix something about it. It's getting intense over there.
Smooth out some hydraulics.
Get some WD-40 in there.
Yeah.
But the cart that you are in, it seats. You do sit next to a partner, and you're sitting in front of or behind. I guess in front of behind.
There's a blaster in your. There's like a little.
There's a cannon,
and there's a little pull string on it.
And that's how you fire things. And each game is a different thing that you fire.
Because you might be throwing eggs or balls or darts
or rings or I believe that's it.
I think that's it.
No, there should be one more, isn't there? Because the first one that you get to is darts for the balloons.
Yeah.
And then there's
balls for the plates.
And then there's rings. And then I guess it's darts again for the Woody's Roundup stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of secrets in this ride. It's all you're shooting virtual things with a physical object, basically, is what it boils down to.
And you get scored, and the score is tracked.
Yeah. So your score continues throughout the game. As soon as you get off the ride, or before you get off the ride, when the ride ends, you can see like the top score in your car, the top score of the hour, the top score of the day. I believe they don't do all time, do they?
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do anymore. I think they used to.
Probably too many people figured out all the tricks.
I figured out a few. My most recent score on that thing was like 350,000.
Sheesh.
It was pretty good. When you ride with someone who knows what they're doing or can follow directions, you can get some pretty high scores on that thing. But it's super re-rideable. Everybody loves to re-ride this thing.
Yeah, no, it's tons of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Definitely use your fast pass on this one.
Yeah,
I would say. Although I don't know if they changed since they added that third track to it. I don't know
what tier it is or whatever.
They didn't change what tier it is. It's still a tier 1.
Oh.
But I'm sure that it definitely relieved the massive wait. I'm sure it's down to about 45 minutes to an hour now. Which is much more reasonable
than it was.
120 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Pixar Place and Animation Courtyard back there.
Yeah.
That's all the attractions, though, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, there is the Little Mermaid
show,
undersea adventure show
being refurbished right now.
That is being refurbished. Yes. I think that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
This park is...
It's in disarray right now.
It's a kind of a shell of itself. Its previous self.
It's struggling right now. The struggle is real.
But the future of this park...
Looks very bright. So we talked about Star Wars Land on episode 6. We're not going to talk about that on here.
No.
We're just going to mention it a couple hundred times because we're excited for it.
Yeah.
But the other big land that they're getting over here is Toy Story Land.
Yep.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Do you know what we know?
Yeah, what do we know? I know there's a Slinky coaster because I saw an animation of that.
Yeah, there's a Slinky Dog coaster. I believe there's also a Green Army Men parachute drop.
Okay.
And there's some type of spinning ride, kind of teacups-esque, with the little green men.
Okay. The claw. The claw.
I don't think there is a whole lot more in this land that they've announced.
No, I think that other than maybe some concept art, we really don't have.
No, we don't have a whole lot. I mean, we don't really know a whole lot about Star Wars Land either.
No, we don't really know opening dates. We really don't know. I mean, like this, we at least know somewhat of an attraction.
Yeah, we know it is the one that has a Slinky Dog attraction in it. Actually, I'm not seeing a parachute drop on this one.
No, I'm not either.
So
we're looking at the Disney Parks blog.
Yeah, right now, kind of figuring out which attractions are there, and they really only announced the Slinky Dog coaster
and then this teacup kind of looking thing.
Yeah, so the description for it, it's the second. There's 2 all new attractions in this land that they haven't put in any other Toy Story land.
Okay, so Slinky Dog coaster.
The Slinky Dog coaster, which you will zip, dodge, and dash around many turns and drops that Andy has created to make Slinky and his coils stretch to his limits. Which I believe is a launched coaster.
That's fun.
If the animation and what I've put together is correct.
Yeah, I think so.
Which could be. It is more family friendly though. Much more family friendly than Rock and Roller Coaster.
So maybe like a Barnstormer
Yeah, something along those
situation.
lines, but still thrilling. I could even see more of a mine train, Seven Dwarfs mine train
kind of variation in speed and maybe some other elements.
Well, not necessarily that. Just the thrill level of that one, kind of how it's in between like Big Thunder Mountain and Barnstormer, both literally and
geographically and ride speed,
thrill level. But the second all new attraction, I guess it does have a name. It's Alien Swirling Saucers. It's designed as a toy playset that Andy got from Pizza Planet. And the aliens are flying in their toy flying saucers and trying to capture your rocket toy vehicle with the claw.
The claw.
So this does it seems more of a like a whiplash ride. You know, those old school ones that you see at like carnivals.
Yeah.
Where you got the center track and you're connected most of the time. If it's kind of sketchy, it's by a chain. Other times the chain's covered. But you basically just whip around one end and you kind of get a bit of a whipping feeling.
Okay.
And the description is, as you rotate around the toy planets and satellites as part of the game, you'll swirl to the beat of fun space jazz music developed just for this experience. The music, the lighting, and the sound effects will add to the flurry of your adventure while the claw looms ominously over you. That's all we really know about Toy Story Land.
Okay.
So we're getting 2 attractions over there, 2 attractions over Star Wars Land. Disney really likes these twos.
Yeah.
But both of these seem really fun. They seem it seems more family oriented than Star Wars Land does.
Yeah, Slinky Coaster's not going to be Rock and Roller Coaster inversions
No, it has no inversions in it. It's going to be pretty mellow. And it looks like there's going to be a few shops. There might be a parachute drop. I am looking at some of the concept art, and I do see some green parachute-y looking
something
things.
Maybe with the Army guys, yeah.
But that hasn't been announced yet. So I'm sure we'll see more than just these 2 attractions. It does look like a bigger land.
It does look pretty decent size by this concept art.
Yeah, it's a good size. It is pretty heavily dominated by that Slinky Dog coaster, though.
Yeah.
But we don't know a whole lot about it. It is the most unique Toy Story Land. So if you've been to the one over in Paris or the one over in Hong Kong, don't expect this. Don't expect that over here.
No.
Expect the same feel, kind of the shrunken down toy, but don't expect the same attractions. It doesn't look like we're getting an RC coaster. We're not getting the Slinky Dog, I don't know the name of it, the Slinky Dog spinning one where you sit in Slinky Dog and go around in a circle. It's basically, I forget the name of the attraction too. I'm really killing it right now. But you basically go forwards and you go in a circle and go over some hills. And then you go backwards in a circle over some hills.
Oh, okay.
It's basically an off-the-shelf ride with a bit of theme to it that you can catch at any carnival, really.
Okay.
So it does seem like Disney is doing a much more unique route with this one.
Good.
Which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Should be pretty sweet. It is definitely needed in Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Because Hollywood Studios is
lacking a lot of attractions as we've gone over the list here and we're already done.
It is lacking attractions, but it is also lacking a lot of family-friendly attractions.
That is true.
I mean, you have like Muppet Vision, Toy Story Midway Mania, and the shows. Other than that, they're pretty high thrill attractions.
It's true. Yeah, I guess I never thought about that, but
Toy Story Land should aid in that ailment, and it should bring this park. Because to me, Hollywood Studios has always been a half-day park. So I think people say Animal Kingdom's a half-day park. No, Hollywood Studios is a half-day park.
It's true.
I think Toy Story Land and Star Wars Land will bring it up to a full day for me, and I'm excited to see them open up.
Absolutely.
Well, now that we know the whole overview of Hollywood Studios currently and a little bit of what's coming in the future, hopefully near future.
Hopefully.
Do you want to talk some top threes?
Sure.
All right. Let's do some attractions.
I think this is the first time our top threes have matched up.
Well, in our notes.
Until you change your mind halfway through the show.
Yeah, it is, though.
So top 3 attractions. I think my number 3, I'll start, is Star Tours.
Okay. Why? What about it?
It's thrilling.
Yeah?
It's unique.
Yeah.
It changes every time.
Okay. Well, most times.
Most time.
I
You go to Hoth a lot.
I did actually, when I rode it at Disneyland, I got Coruscant for the first time in forever.
Wow.
I was pleasantly thrilled.
It's probably my number 3. It's not much higher because it's not unique to Hollywood Studios. Only because there's a version in Disneyland.
Yeah, yeah. I would say my number 3 it was Star Tours, but now that Muppet Vision 3D is gone in California Adventure,
oh yeah,
and I don't get to visit it a whole lot, that is my number 3 attraction. It is Muppet Vision 3D. I love the Muppets, like I've said before. I love just Jim Henson's comedy, his style of character creation.
Yeah,
I've always been a fan of, and the Muppets are they're brought out in such a way, such a good old school Muppet way.
It is, yeah.
I believe this was the last Muppet thing that Jim Henson worked on before he passed.
Yeah.
And you can tell it is old school Muppets all the way, and I love every minute of it. I love waiting in that queue. I don't mind walking in and seeing, show starting in like 15 seconds, hurry up and run. I will walk and wait for that entire show to go through so I can look at the queue and see all the gags and everything, and just the
video that plays.
It's hysterical. It cracks me up every time. So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Rock and Roller Coaster.
Okay.
Is that still your number 2?
That is my number 2,
okay.
Yes. Star Tours got bumped off. Sorry, but it's not unique, like you said, to Hollywood Studios. It is over at Disneyland. It is the same version as Disneyland has.
True.
But yeah, Rock and Roller Coaster is my number 2.
Yeah. I mean, it's thrilling. It's really thrilling.
It's very unique.
It's very unique.
I believe there's only one other version of it in the world, and it's outdoors, and there's no music.
Yeah.
And it's in, like, Germany. So
it's well themed.
It's great.
I mean,
it is really cool, very fast, in versions that you don't really see coming unless you've ridden it recently.
Yeah, that's true.
Lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I love
that launch, too, just gets me every time.
Oh, it's
like,
great.
Here it comes. Oh, there it is.
Where's it at? Right there. Yeah, it's plus Aerosmith blasting the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, I think the only thing better than that would be Star Wars music blasting the whole time. But we're not getting a rock and roller coaster, hyper rock and roller coaster. Yeah. But I mean, it's a good ride. That's one of the rides that I know I'm in Hollywood Studios if I ride it.
Yeah, that's true.
But our number 1s are the same still.
What's our number 1?
Tower of Terror.
That's right.
It is beautiful over at this park. It should be the park icon. I think it has been in a lot of advertising. Yeah,
they've been using that one and then switching between that and...
Isn't it a great movie ride?
It's a great movie ride, the Chinese theater.
Yeah. Well, since they got rid of the hat.
Yeah.
But Tower of Terror, this one is the best version that Disney has built in the States.
Definitely.
It's better than the one over in Paris. I've heard the Tokyo one is the best one, but it's not really Twilight Zone. It's a completely different theme.
Spooky or whatever.
Yeah, it's a completely different theme. But this is the best Twilight Zone Tower of Terror ever built. And It was the first one built.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show that they got it right the first time and a little less so on the other time.
And then they kind of had to mute it.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
Just for space saving issues.
Yeah.
But if you've been on the one over in California and you think it's the same thing, it's not.
No, this one's way longer.
Very different.
Yeah. Way more queue, a lot more theming.
Oh, yeah. You get so much more queue. You get so much more theming. You get so much more time in that hotel. And the more time in that hotel, the better.
Yeah.
The
spookier it is. And yeah.
It's incredible. I love this ride, and I love just hanging out around there even.
Yeah.
And the way that they set it up, that you kind of wind up into the hotel, it's very ominous. There's always fog or mist.
Mist, yeah.
There's always mist. They always have misters going. So it's cool it's cool to look at, and it's actually physically cool,
which is nice
when you're walking
in
up.
the Florida heat.
Oh, it's great. But this is a must ride on any trip to Disney World.
100%.
Not even just Hollywood Studios. It's Disney World. Yeah, that does it for my top 3. I guess yours as well.
That was my top 3 too.
Pretty similar. Not a whole lot of attractions to truly rant about, but
yeah, I mean that's kind of the hard part with Hollywood Studios right now in this current age that it's in. I mean, give it a couple years, and we're going to see a whole different park, and
we're probably going to have to do this episode all over again.
Revisit it because, like I said, it's going to just be new and different, and
it's going to be great.
Yeah.
We're really excited for it. We're really excited to see what updates come and how they affect the park as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that just about does it for our main topic.
Yeah. Well, that does it for episode number 8.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Unmistakably Magic Podcast. Don't forget to check out our... Don't check out, yeah. Please don't. No.
Please do.
Please do check out our social media. Unmistakably Mag on Twitter. Unmistakably Magic on Instagram. Facebook.com/Unmistakably Magic.
Unmistakablymagic.spreadshirt.com.
That's right.
Some new designs coming up really shortly.
Absolutely. Don't forget to email us, unmistakablymagic@gmail.com. We love getting questions and
show ideas,
feedback, and any other comments or concerns.
Some criticisms.
Yeah,
those are always appreciated.
Anything you want to tell us, let us know.
Yeah, anything.
Big thank you to our friend Dylan over at Blast Off Branding for making our awesome logo. And don't forget to check out our friends over at Unmistakably Star Wars Podcast. Like we said, we had one of their guys over as a guest during our Star Wars Land talk.
Yeah, and did you listen to one of their more recent podcasts?
No, I haven't yet.
It was pretty good. They talked about how the Sith aren't actually all that bad, which is quite an interesting topic to tackle.
That's a deep topic. Yeah,
it was a lot of fun to listen to.
Good. So check those guys out. They're on iTunes,
YouTube. They even have their own website, Unmistakably Star Wars. .com.
Yeah. Well, Court,
I think that's it.
Have a magical week.
See you real soon.